Welcome to the V12 Podcast, the #1 podcast in SC, with hosts Prince Mazzani and Bird Daddy. V12.
We are the city.
It's your boy Prince Mazzani.
Yeah, it's the Bird Daddy.
And we here with V12 Podcast, V12 Studio once again. And we got a legendary guest today. Yeah. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. I've had a chance to pick his brain for like the past maybe an hour at least now, man. This is a guy who was really born into what we really can define as a crucial part of hip-hop culture in its golden era. Hip-hop culture in its golden era, a lot of it was around like street life and like that image of being hard, rugged, especially from the north, up north area. And you were born into that. And then you ended up transitioning out of that in your later life after gaining everything you gained from it, and then learning what you needed to learn to transition into what you are today. You wrote a few books, 50 critical quotes, which is my favorite, Old Gangsters and Young Guns, and the critically acclaimed by several of your favorite rappers, Raised by Wolves, founder of Hip Hop Weekly, which is the publication that succeeded the Source magazine, and just an overall real nigga. My guy Cavario.
Give it up for Cavario. You know what I'm saying? One time.
Glad to have you on the V12 podcast.
Definitely glad to have you down here.
This is family.
Yeah, man.
Right.
So, just cause there's so much to kind of like tap into, man. Like, cause you've told me several stories, you've showed me pictures, you've given me anecdotes, like a lot of different things. Like, I want to jump straight forward to where you are right this second, because you've given me nothing but positive energy. If you had to sum up in 3 minutes, 2 minutes, your message that you want anyone who's experiencing you for the first time to see, what would it be?
That the only thing that is truly gangster is knowledge. Everything else is bullshit.
Say that one more time, please.
The only thing that is truly gangster is knowledge. Everything else is bullshit.
Yeah.
You can listen to me now, but you're going to believe me later on if you make it.
Right.
That's the truth.
And you know what I like? I'm from his hometown, because he's older. He's my elder, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's from Harlem, New York. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. But just the 10 minutes of me sitting down speak with him, he's very educated. The words that he's using, his mannerism, and he's telling me stories where, you know, he lived one lifestyle, but here I am listening to him in this lifestyle, and it's kind of like it was two totally different people. But he's educated. And I don't know if you went to college. But
10th grade dropout.
10th grade dropout, but you could tell he's knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell everything he's saying is authentic and is real. And to be honest, I could sit out there all day and talk to you, to be honest, just because I want to hear the stories and I want to hear the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience. But I love that you just said knowledge pretty much is supreme. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is bullcrap.
Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone.
That's right.
Yeah, you already know what time it is.
That's right.
And that's an artist who's at V12 Studio. We ain't even say that. KRS One was right here.
That's my bro.
He was right here.
That's my bro.
He was
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, the Hip Hop Weekly thing. A month after I stopped doing Don Diva magazine, which was my original magazine.
Okay.
I got a call from Dave Mays, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I was listening to Hot 97. We was listening to Hot 97. Funk Flex was saying that, Cavario's not doing Don Diva no more, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? End of an era type shit, whatever.
Dave Mays, co-founder of The Source.
Yes.
For y'all who don't know.
Yep. And he was like, "Yo, me and Ray gonna do this magazine called Hip Hop Weekly." I was like, "Fuck the magazine."
Yeah.
Fuck the magazine, nigga. I'm not doing that shit. That shit, David, killed me. 6 years of that shit. You know what I mean? Because I wrote anywhere between 50 and 100% of Don Diva. I took, if I didn't write it, I rewrote it, right? Because I have the gift, I have the skill set. Anybody with a hand can write, but only a person with talent can write well.
Right.
and I wanted to present as best a product as possible. You know, so I went through everything. You know, I took all the pictures initially for the first 4 years. I sold all the magazines myself for the first few years. I sold 55,000 copies out of my own hand of Don Diva before anybody decided they wanted to join in or take credit, whatever.
Right.
You know, so I was worn the fuck out by the time, you know, August 06 comes along. You know what I'm saying? I'm worn out. So when he calls me a week later, talking about you know, doing this magazine, I was like, bro, I don't want to hear nothing about the magazine. I've been working on Raised by Wolves, my book, for some years at that point.
That's your first book?
Yeah, my first book. So I was like, I'm ready. I'm going to my publishing company, because that's what Don Diva should have done. We had upwards of 1 million readers across the country, and we had been a major component for the marketing and promotion of urban books.
Yeah.
One of the only places you could really advertise that kind of content to the audience that it was targeting, right? We had that audience established. So Terry Woods, like my sister, I gave her a first ad in our first issue, because my man Blue, Black Man Jewel Blue, what's up Blue? Welcome back home. Stay your ass home.
Salute.
He called like, yo, I got a home girl, she wrote a book, she's trying to get some promotion on it, you know what I'm saying? Cool. So gave her the ad in the magazine, whatever. So we had that audience, and we should have, which is why I did Old Gangsters and Young Guns. That is the Don Diva book, right? And we should have transitioned, at least expanded the brand into something that was less reliant upon what was dwindling before we even got in the game, print ad income, which is the basis or the financial foundation for publication, for radio station, for TV station. It's about the ads. The ads are the blood. Right. And I learned that from Russell. When I first started doing the magazine, Don Diva, I did not know that. I was a drug dealer, had a drug dealer's mindset. I had never done anything else. I'd never had a job anywhere, did anything but sold drugs. So I figured, get the package, flip the package, buy more. I didn't know that the ads were the money.
So the ads were the money back, because you know ads are still the money now.
Well, that's the nature of the game.
The money, yeah.
That's the nature of the game. That's the nature of the game.
That's how
before you
social
print a
media.
magazine, your money is already made in the ads. That's why the distributor is able to take so much of the cover price. Right. So if the cover price is $5, the distributor is going to want $1.50 because he's incurring the cost of gas, transportation, paying drivers, the insurance, all that kind of stuff, whatever. So he needs, in order for it to be a viable business for him, he needs to get hot products that people want, that are selling, and he needs to be able to, you know, get a significant amount of the income generated off the sale of that product at its retail point in order for it to make sense to him. But I didn't need that, so I did the distribution myself too.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? I couldn't afford it because I wasn't getting enough advertising dollars to be able to support the publication in its continued growth and production, with just the income that was coming off the ads.
So for those who don't know, right, and people who are exposed to you for the first time, you're talking about your Don Diva the Don Diva magazine,
right? Which was what I did prior to doing Hip Hop Weekly.
Now explain.
Which is why I didn't want to do Hip Hop Weekly initially.
Explain what Don Diva magazine was, when it was active, and what it was about.
Don Diva was the if you're familiar with American Gangster, the BET series, that highlighted high-profile street figures from the ethnic community, Black, Hispanic, community.
Right.
That show was cultivated by or put together with the content that we created. So all those individuals who were profiled in that show, those individuals had been subjects of mine in my publication. That show started in 2008.
Right.
2008, yes. I left in 2006 from Don Diva magazine. So all of those, I was doing Hip Hop Weekly by this point. Otherwise, I would have been on Nelson George and Mass. You know what I mean? But because they literally took the stories that we done, structured them exactly the way we structured them.
Wow.
And then regurgitated them on video. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's how the transition went from the Don Diva shit to the Hip Hop Weekly shit, whatever that was.
Yeah, that's lit, man.
That's fire. Let's talk about transitioning from the street lifestyle to actually getting into these magazines and these books and all that. How was that transition for you? Because I know you said a lot of your friends, even family members, got locked up. A lot of people dead in jail, this and the third. So you being the person that you are, what made you say, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm transitioning my lifestyle. And why? Why did you want to transition?
One, because I'd really worn myself out. See, people don't understand this. Because most people who got in the street did not understand the things that you couldn't observe from your window or from your stoop, when you're watching people who were in the life move around, They did not know that, we riding in this nice car going from wherever the fuck we going to wherever the fuck we're going to.
Right.
But you don't understand that this thing you see us doing when we riding and we like,
coming the price.
you don't understand what's motivating that. You think, oh, he look cool, you know what I'm saying? He head on the swivel, he look cool, whatever. You don't know, nigga, it's paranoia. It's paranoia. You don't know that my man is in the trunk because the cocksucker just tried to cross me. You know what I mean? I done left this nigga around, $10,000 100 times, but the first time he was around $100,000 once, tried to do me. That type shit. So I just had to make a decision to do something to someone whom I considered a brother. Right? All for this money.
That's
all for
tough.
this money. Now, if your mommy and daddy are regular people and they gave you regular social structure and ideology, then the idea of you doing your best friend behind him crossing an imaginary line that you do not know exists because you come from square people is not even occurring to you. Whatever your parents or your primary caregivers are exhaling, you are inhaling it. Whatever thoughts, beliefs,
That's deep.
you did, right? Whatever that energy is, that's what you inherit, right? So what I inherited was pure, unadulterated fucking gangsterism. That's extreme. Think about...
Because you were born into a family of gangsters.
That's a fact.
And
My mother, my father figures, my uncles, my cousins, my sisters, like every fucking body. It was on one side of the bag or the other. And I say bag, I mean heroin. Cocaine was a party favor.
So cocaine wasn't even nowhere near as big of the get money drug as it was, back then as it is now.
Nowhere near it. And it was way more, when it did become a get money drug, it was way more a get money drug back then, before a rapper knew what it looked like, so he could talk about it, than it is now. Remember, I told you when I started, before we got on camera, in 1980, when I started, a key of cocaine was $60,000. You could cut it 3-4 times and it was still some good shit, right?
Yeah, real talk.
So you could make 2, 3, 4 keys out of one key, right? It was $100 a gram.
Getting rich,
right?
Off of one of them.
Oh, that's right. Right. So
it's crazy.
You compare that to now. I remember when it was as cheap. All right, 1980 was 60,000. 1987 was 13,000. So yeah, the money was nowhere near comparable to heroin. Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Don't even think about comparing some cocaine selling person of any era to a major heroin selling person in terms of monetary gain. It's not comparable.
So it sounds, based off of the time frame, based off how old you are, and the time frame in which all of this was going down that you saw, were a part of, had dealings with your family involved in all of that, that coincides alongside the same time frame that hip-hop, rap, and all of that was experiencing what would lead to the explosion in the culture. And a lot of the rappers especially from where you were at, Harlem and surrounding areas, were rapping as if they were living that lifestyle that you're talking about now.
Yeah, that didn't
true
start happening. That didn't start happening when hip hop first started speaking about street oriented things.
Right.
Was about
85?
80, 83, 84, maybe 85, right?
Yeah.
Cats like G-Rap, stuff like that. G-Rap was really like that guy, right? In terms of that type of shit. They were talking about general things that went on in that world. Mm-hmm. Not about a particular person, not about a particular instance or incident. Mm. Because they understood you don't do that.
You can't even say that.
It's consequences.
Yeah, you don't do that. You don't.
You better keep it as vague as possible.
Out of pocket, you know. And for those of us who are from the life, we looked at it like, all right, nigga, watch it. You ain't even supposed to be talking about none of that. It's none of your business.
Right.
It's none of your fucking business. This is not fodder for your following. You dig? This is not something for you to pick from. You know, these are real circumstances. These are the real potential consequences that we are facing every day, and these things that you want to put to a beat and romanticize and so forth. And they understood that, right? And then the generation that followed, they, because of the proximity that generation, G-Rap's generation, and G-Rap was one of not very many that were talking about that lifestyle. You dig what I'm saying? He was kind of like the precursor for that.
Yeah.
Dig? So, you know, here he is. Here's the game he's talking about, right? And then he represents rap, and here are the streets, right? And then the next generation of rapper that comes behind him, because of his exposure, they feel a little more comfortable getting proximity to the
closer
thing.
And closer and closer.
Right. And then, so now they're not just talking about generalisms, they're talking about
specific shit.
More specific in that they're saying, you know, more specific things, but still not being particular about it. Place or person,
because they're not really in that life.
Because they're not in the lifestyle and they don't really know that, but you know they're hearing things, right? Now, crack is becoming a thing now, which means more people are selling drugs, which means there is more exposure of the lifestyle closer to the ground for people in the hood who aren't of the life. They're seeing more things they didn't see before in my generation. You know, the generation that I was brought into it by. They're seeing way more than the generation that came before them, you know, because now they know somebody who might be selling some drugs. Before they didn't know somebody, they just knew of, oh, that's the drug dealer in the neighborhood. Now it's like, you know, my friend who I was in 5th grade with, you know, now he's 17
he's
and
slanging now.
He's slinging.
Right.
So I could sit with him and smoke a little weed and listen to him, and you know, I can take some of that, but I'm not going to talk about him in particular because I know I'm not supposed to do that.
Right.
And but that exposure to the younger kids who are listening to the genre, now they are becoming more comfortable with it. So the gap is closing. So with each new generation, it went from I'm talking about a thing in general to I'm talking about a thing more specifically, to I'm talking about a thing very specifically, very particularly, I'm talking about this person or that person, this event, that event, to I'm the person.
Right.
I'm hearing you rap, you know, rapping, whatever, but this is what I really do. When I'm not rapping, I'm slinging and shooting, whatever, this and the other.
But that would mean after that came, I'm not the person, I'm not even involved, and I barely see it, but I'm going to talk as if I am.
That's right. Because now this has become the thing, this is the standard, this is the bar. If you're going to be talking about anything anybody's interested in, this is the appetite that they've created. Everybody who's come before you has talked about this stuff with increasing degrees. So if you are looking to be recognized in this space, now you have to get you some stuff to talk about from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Thank goodness YouTube came along. Because these motherfuckers wouldn't know what to talk about. Right. Thank goodness rappers started becoming more and more hyperbolic. More and more, yeah, I did this. I was balling back in the days. I'm still spending money from this or whatever. But nigga, you never heard of Cristal. You here it is, 1994, and you were talking about you were balling in 1988, but in 1994 you're being exposed to Cristal, and you're going, what's that? You're asking Biggie, what's that right there? Biggie's like, oh, you don't know about this? This the shit the ballers drink. Talking about Cristal. So if you was this dude in those days, how you didn't know what the dudes from those days that you were participating in lifestyle, how you don't know that those are the subtle nuances that expose to people like me who people really are and who they really aren't. But the average person that's consuming that music is not like me.
Right.
So they don't know.
And the bad part about that is there's so many people who don't have that skill or don't have that experience to where they have developed that skill to where when a person does have that skill and can expose a person who don't know, they're deemed as a hater.
Yeah, that's like the Jewish community with saying anytime you say something about their group that is not favorable to the group, the reality of it is inconsequential. By virtue of exposing this unfavorable thing, you are anti-Semitic. So it's the same mindset. It's the same mindset.
Right.
It's I'm selling this as my image and my idea, and if you expose the fact that I don't qualify for this, you're a hater. You're not a truth teller.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? In the streets, prior to this New Jack City mentality, everybody's a drug dealer because they're from a poor neighborhood mentality shit. Whenever somebody who was from the neighborhood tried to suddenly go from being the school kid, church kid, come from the structured, normal household, just happened to be in the neighborhood, every time they stepped outside, cats that they might have grown up alongside, but who were on the other side, would tell them, hey, what you doing, nigga? No, nigga, we grew up together, we roughing the buck. No, nigga, you can't be out here, motherfucker. Take your ass to work like you've been doing.
Right.
This ain't for you. But I'm from around here. This ain't for you.
Right. Get your ass back.
Right? That's how we maintain the fabric of the game and maintained its profitability. By keeping that element out of it. But the cheaper and more accessible cocaine got, the more and more of those guys there were, the less it was possible to eliminate them, to run them off. Because it was like whack-a-mole. Right. Like this nigga pop up, get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here. You needed octopus arms and shit. Right. They just pop up every fucking point. And that's how the integrity of the game weakened and broke apart and so forth, But that was regulation. That wasn't hating. That wasn't, I'm out here getting money and I want to be this guy and you can't be this guy because I want to be this guy. So I'm hating on you and stopping you. No.
Right.
It was keeping this thing of ours what it needed to be in order for the risks we were taking to be worth the rewards that we were reaping.
V12 Podcast. The #1 podcast in SC.